Nani? We've got Apple. What? Mummy? Thank you for the follow. Okay, we're gonna be starting soon. Good timing, eh? Okay. Let's just do an audio check. You guys can hear me, eh? Let me first just reduce the music a little bit. Okay, that should be better. Okay, yeah, so give me an audio check, and then let me just transition in. Okay, cool. Hello. Hey, how's it going, Build Force? So yeah, we've got Apple Mummy. Thank you for the follow and all that. I just want to check, are you based in South Africa? And are you a Gunpla builder as well? Cool. I see John guy says audio is good. Great, awesome, lekker, awesome. And let's just do a kind of a quick greetings here. So we see we've got Noe Luke, we've got Random Vortex, obviously John guy, Epic. Hey, Epic's here. Sweet, awesome. So thank you guys for joining me. Sure. Well, my throat is still recovering from Comic-Con Cape Town. Well, it's been like, what, just over a week? Yeah, I'm still, just over a week. It feels shorter, but also longer at the same time. Kind of feels weird. Yeah, and sure, I'm still kind of recovering, and I also made my girlfriend sick. Yeah, anyway, so we're both doing better. Just rested, well, fairly well over the weekend, besides the build meet, but that was pretty chilled. So, and I was wearing my mask, so hopefully I didn't make anybody else sick. Yeah. Now we look says Uncle Jeff. Ah, thanks, man. Or Jeff. Jonga's Zeta is sponsored by Strepsils yet? Yeah, if I keep going to cons day in, day out, like non-stop, then yeah, maybe they'll sponsor me. Yeah. Okay, alright, so let's switch over. Oh yeah, okay. Before I switch over to my top cam, just to show you guys what we're gonna be. Okay, it's probably okay. Point the light here. There you go. We're gonna be working on the Brady Hound today. Well, continue working on it. So the whole idea is to, let's switch to top cam. The whole idea is that I want to well, not want, I'm entering Zaku Aurelius's what's his theme, Advance of Zeta contest. So yeah, it's you can use any kit. For those of you know that what Advance of Zeta is, it's basically like a side story or prequel to Zeta Gundam. And yeah, it's got a very distinct palette, if that's the right way of putting it, like color palette, and those mechanical designs and stuff. So his contest basically just says like you can use any model kit that you want. It doesn't have to be Gundam, it can be anything. The criteria is just it has to fit the theme of Advance of Zeta. So the easiest thing to do is just look at the Advance of Zeta color scheme, and yeah, kind of, well, that's the way I'm gonna approach this kit, Brady Hound. Because obviously, for those of you that might not know, the Brady Hound it's not from the Gundam franchise. It's a property of Sunrise, which is the animation studio that does Gundam animations, and also the model kit is made by Bandai. So it's their property, but it's their IP, but it's from an anime series called Kyokai Senki. Yeah, this is the kit I'm going to be choosing, and this is a 1:722 scale. So these things are much smaller to Gundams. So my actual concept for this is that it's like within the Advance of Zeta prototype team or whatever, they've got like covert units, like for espionage. So they have like, these guys are much smaller. They're probably like not even half the size. So maybe like, what is it? Let's check. It's told. Let me zoom in here so you guys can like make sure I'm talking like factual stuff and not talking cuck. Yeah, these guys are like half of the size of a regular Gundam suit. You know, regular Gundam suits is about 18 meters tall. So these guys are only like 10 meters. So they're much smaller, more like, my idea is like they're more nimble. They only get sent out for like espionage or recons. So not in the front line. So yeah. Yeah, that's my idea for this guy. And obviously give it a darker paint scheme, like the Titan's blue, which is like a very dark blue. Yeah, and I think that can work pretty well for this guy. We'll see. And that actually, there's something I actually want to cover on this build stream today, is that because it's this suit is designed for espionage operations, this long sword, you know, that's obviously came with the standard kit. I feel personally it's way too long for my taste. Yeah, so I want to actually like show you guys on stream how I go about, you know, it could be some tips and tricks for anybody that's new. I show you how I go about shortening it into like just a blade like this, or a dagger, whatever you call it, whatever the right terminology is. Okay, let's quickly just check what's happening with this chat. Okay, Jonga says, glad to hear you guys are feeling better. Yeah, shot, thank you. Noah Luke, sheesh, look at all the stickers. Yeah, we're building up a collection, eh? I'm actually wondering what I'm gonna do, like now, how I want to expand it, because I quite like not having the whole entire cutting mat covered with stickers, because I do still want to like slice things, and I actually don't like, preferably I would like to avoid the stickers. So you know, I've got already like cut lines, but they're all like off center, away from the stickers and stuff. So maybe I'll like stop here and just like, you know, in future if I get more stickers, I'll put them on like something else, like a tool case or something. I feel like this is, yeah, I don't want to cover the entire thing with stickers. Yeah, I hope you guys been getting had a chance to get the new stickers. I know the guys in Cape Town had a chance to get the new Comic-Con Cape Town exclusive sticker. Obviously that was just the debut, so like I printed some excess for the guys up in Joburg. So like for example at the last build meet this Saturday, I gave out the guys here the marine bot. Yeah, that was really cool. And actually next time, well, at least for next con, you know, with every con it's growing, right? So like I printed 200 stickers, and obviously we give out one sticker per sale of a model kit, and by like Saturday noonish they're already like all gone. So next time I need to print like 300 or maybe even 400. We'll see. What is it? Cushy Kitten followed. Hey, I remember you. You and your friend were dressed as a maid outfit at Comic-Con. I think I met you guys only on one day or a few days. I don't know, can't remember. And you bought the Delanza, Gwil's Delanza, yeah. How's the build? Have you started? I think you also joined our Discord, right? I think. Either way, if you're in our Discord or not, you know, please share videos. I mean, not videos, photos of your build. Yeah, whether it's by Discord or via our or via your Instagram, you know, tag us. We'd love to see it. And I think your friend Bill, oh wait, I think both of you bought the 30-minute sisters. The what's it? I can't remember. Can't remember the name. The bunny ones. Starts with the L. Our name or whatever. I can't remember the name now. Sure. Yeah. I'm sure one of you guys know. Maybe Lindsay. Yeah, she's got it too. So I mean they got it too. So yeah, can correct me on the name. Lirinal? Yeah, Lirinal and Laurinal, I think. Yeah. It's just the vowels changed. Okay, and Noe Luke says I've been looking at the LZ reboot design all day. They're so nice. So do you wanna enter Zacharelius's contest? Because he also extended his contest just like us. Well, actually we extended to kind of match with his, because it's always nice to have like a local competition and a matching with a international one. Obviously our themes are kind of different, but you can almost like build one kit and enter into both competition, both into ours and his, because our current competition's theme is Gundam Universe. So anything, you can build any kind of model kit as long as you paint it up or customize it up as if it's from the Gundam Universe, then that's all good. Which obviously Advance of Zeta is part of the Gundam Universe. So yeah. Okay, No Sleep Shogun. Hey, how's it going? No Sleep. My favorite is the TR6. They both look sleek and powerful. Yeah, the Advance of Zeta stuff is really, really cool looking. Yeah, my favorite is the Hazel. Yeah, like Mark II, Gundam Mark II is probably my favorite Gundam because it's got a very it's no, like, it doesn't have any bells and whistles, it's very utilitarian, it's nothing fancy, gets a job done, very, very militaristic. Yeah, and the Hazel, which is kind of the prototype to Mark II, I believe. Yeah, it's got a very similar look, plus even chunkier, for example, chunkier legs. So yeah. No, Luke, COVID or COVID? I heard COVID. Well, I was saying like COVID operation for this guy. I don't know if I've got COVID, but at this point it's like, yeah, I don't need to go get tested. I'm already recovering, and I didn't have any of the similar symptoms. So yeah, I just hope it's just a regular conflict, speaking all weekend and in front of so many people. So yeah, sure. I feel okay. There's not much chat to catch up on, so that's good. Okay, cool. No, Luke, don't forget to give it those nice red fingertips. Yeah, of course, you gotta have those. Yeah, the little painted nails, kind of like Mechagatsu, huh? Except it's not black. No Sleep Shogun, me too, love the stickers. Put one on my lens. Oh, now my photos are weird. Yeah, I should have just read the whole sentence. Like, yeah, funny guy. Cushy Kitten, yeah, yes, correct. I'm waiting for my friend so we can build together. Yeah. Apparently your friend doesn't have all the tools and nippers, so you guys gonna share one? Yeah. So I'm gonna switch off these party lights now. Hopefully there can be nano lights. Not nano lights, nano leaves in future. Yeah. We're gonna see if we can get some sponsorships. Gonna show them these. In case you guys don't know what nano leaves are, it's like very cool LED panels that you can have like mounted on your wall and stuff. But we actually did an interview with a guy who's bringing it in at Comic-Con Cape Town, and we were talking. It's like, yeah, we have ideas from a because we stream and we make YouTube content and stuff. It's like, yeah, imagine if you have your Gundam kits displayed on top of a light, it's really cool. Yeah, especially if you have like a clear action base, then the light can go through, it's really cool. Yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so who was it? Hawkeye. Yeah, Hawkeye, thank you for the follow. Are you also in South Africa? And are you also a Gunpla builder? Yay. Even though we're not building a Gunpla right now, but you know, made by the same company. Yeah, so welcome. We are Gunpla SA. So we're based in South Africa, and you know, we are primarily a Gunpla store, but that's like a very surface level of it. So what, like, our mission is to really grow the community and the scene in South Africa. Yeah. And that's why we're doing like Twitch streams, for example, and many more other things. Okay. Noe Luke says, I actually decided to enter the build off yesterday evening. Got 2 kits on the way, so hopefully I can get the build done before the entries close. Gonna kit bash, a Duribold, and a Zeta to make an Advance of Zeta inspired kit. Okay. Duribold and Zeta Gundam, that's gonna be interesting, because they have very very different design language. You know, Duribold is more curvy and it's got more organic shapes, and Zeta is very like hard surface, so it's a lot of straight lines. So it will be interesting to see how you pull that off. Yeah. Epic says, I was going to paint a Machillas for the Gunpla SA comp. Maybe I choose Zeta colors into both. Yeah, why not? You know, why not? At the end of the day, it's, as long as you're having fun with it, do it. Go ahead and do it. One kit, 2 comps. Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna catch up on the last few chats and, you know, actually get started. What, it's been like, what, 20 minutes? Yeah. Okay. Vortex. Oh, Lindsay's here. Hi. What does the O/ mean? Like, is that a command? Yeah. Sorry, I'm so like dumb when it comes to these kind of things. Vortex says, I usually slap the sticker on my PC case. Okay. Yeah, like, I want to slap stickers on my laptop, but at the same time, I was like, you know, I kind of want to keep it a bit classy as well. So it's like, maybe if I do want a sticker on my laptop, maybe just 1? Yeah. Or 2? It's always a hard decision. Cushy Kitten, yes, I'm going to take him to the hobby shop near us because he wants a colorful nipper. Okay, cool, sweet. If you want, you can check out our website, you know, at gunpla.com. We do have I take it you guys have seen a different colors selection at our stand. Well, not our stand, but our retail partner Nexus Hub stand. You know, we had the different colors of white, blue, red, grey and pink. So yeah. And Hawkeye, I'm in Canada, just started building Gunpla. Nice change of pace from building 40k models. Oh, nice. Yeah, nice of you to join us. When you said just started building Gunpla, like, are you talking about like 1 or 2 kits, or yeah? Not check. And yeah, maybe you can tell me what kit you built, you know, like, was it HG kits, was it a Gundam, you know, that kind of thing. I'm sure the guys in the chat will also like to know, you know. Yeah, you guys can interact with each other, because I should be, this is not a just chatting stream. Okay, I should be getting into it soon. Yeah. Yeah. But how's your experience compared to like building miniatures and coming to Gunpla? Obviously, like, yeah, you said it's a nice change of pace. But do you feel like maybe less anxiety or pressured? Because, you know, obviously with miniatures, it all gets molded in one color. So it's like you almost feel obligated to get into, like, you know, to paint up a kit. Yeah, sure, like, you know, some people might enjoy painting, but like sometimes they just want to say, oh, you know, I also want to just take a break and not be forced into painting. So how do you find about like Gunpla? It's like, oh, you know, like these things are already molded in the color, so I actually can just relax and, you know, not paint, or even when you do paint, you can paint it however you want. Because I do wonder how many like kind of gatekeepers there are in the hobby, saying, oh, you know, like whether it's like military or miniatures, especially like miniatures with like tabletop gaming or like involved with it, they will say, oh, you know, you got to paint it in the right faction color scheme and all that. And yeah, because we actually have quite a few new builders that joined our community locally in South Africa. They said, like, you know, with a miniature or 40 Warhammer 40k side, like they feel a bit like pressured, or there's a bit of toxicity or whatever because of this whole like serious aspect to it, where now they get into Gunpla or like the model kits from Bandai, where it's all snap vert, and it's like, oh, you can paint it however you want. You can paint it canon colors, or people can paint it like, you know, cell shading aesthetics, or paint it as like a piece of art. Like I've seen people who take the shield and they'll just paint like a, you know, own kind of graffiti kind of things. Or I even saw, I think, what's it, Gunpla Sisters? I think they're also based in Canada or the US. They recently painted their like HG Freedom Gundam as like a Bob Ross painting. So like, you know, with the happy trees and all that stuff. So it's like, you know, there's no right way or wrong way of painting Gunpla kits. You know, at the end of the day, it's a model kit. Essentially, it's like a piece of canvas, you know, so you can express your creativity however you want on it. You know, nobody, you know, it's your kit, you know. So there's a saying from, if you watch what's it, Gundam Build Fighters, they said, oh, Gunpla is freedom, and it's really like that, you know. So like, for example, this kit here, I'm going to paint it as if it's from Advance of Zeta, so, you know, I can really express my own creativity behind it. Yeah, and that's like, for example, when I was at Comic-Con Cape Town, I tell people saying, oh, you know, you can just build a kit. You know, if you're casual, you can just build a kit and just, you know, that's that. But if you're a bit creative, you can say once you built your kit, that to you is just the starting, well, for me at least, like once I built a kit, that's, for me, that's only the starting point. You know, it's like, okay, where do this is the kit that they've designed from this company, and how do I take it from here to make it my own, like uniquely mine, that nobody else in the world will have, you know. Yeah. Vortex is, oh, it's a wave. Oh, you're talking about the 0 slash that Lindsay did. Okay, cool, sweet. Oh, okay, like a salute, like a Hitler, like a Hitler salute. Shit. Yo. Thanks for the gift sub from 2 weeks ago. Noe Luke saying to Lindsay. Okay, awesome, thank you. Yeah, you guys are very wholesome, thank you. Yeah, Noe Luke embrace the just chatting. Yeah. Yeah, like something I learned from Loud Lungs is that he says, you know, like at the end of the day, it's about you engaging with the chat as like almost like the priority. I hope that's the case. I hope like nobody's like in here is like, fuck, I'm gonna leave now because this guy hasn't shown me any tips. Because that's my title, right? I'm gonna show you guys some tips. Okay, sure. Every time I feel like I've caught up with the chat, it's like there's more. Okay, last sprint here. Okay, no sleep sugar says just make sure you get the correct nippers. Some nippers with very slanted blades might not be able to get into some of the smaller places, so you might push the parts out. Look, what's it, Cushy? I'm sure if you guys go to a dedicated hobby store, you know, the nippers you'll get is like to be appropriate. Yeah. Hawkeye, it's been fun, but yeah, not sure what to do about painting. I want to paint, just but don't know if it's necessary. Look, again, it's your own journey, you know, it's your own hobby, you know, take it however you want. So you don't have to paint if you don't want to, you know, but I'm sure as you build more and more kits and you get exposed to like the Gunpla scene on the internet, on social media, I'm sure you'll come across lots of like custom builds and custom paint jobs, you'll go like, oh man, this looks so flippin' cool. And then yeah, it will hopefully inspire you to get into it, because again, the customization and you know, kit bashing and painting side of it, it's, you know, some people go really creative and go really crazy about it. Yeah. And that's why we started Gunpla SA, you know, is because I've lived this for like what, 30 years and probably over. And yeah, only maybe in the past 10 years I've gotten into painting, but so I'm like not any like master level or anything, but I'm quite comfortable with my techniques. Yeah, and there's still so much to learn, you know, and just take it one kit at a time. You learn one, you apply new techniques. Maybe that's the first tip. If you're new to customization, painting, or whatever, try to, like, obviously when you get into it, you'll pick up a lot of techniques, whether from like chatting to other people or you pick it up from online indirectly. You might say, oh, you know, you get really ambitious and have all these ideas, and oh, you know, this is what I want to do, and instead of applying a lot of techniques to one build, try and like say, okay, these are the techniques I would like to, you know, learn or get into. Let me choose like a few, like just maybe one or two, just to you know, bite-sized chunks, and say, okay, this kit, this is what I want to do, like maybe kit bashing, you know, and I'll want to do basic paint job, you know, no weathering or nothing, you know, those two things. And even those two things, there's a lot of like other techniques that goes into it. Like, you know, for example, you got to prime your kit, then you do your base coat, and also like what kind of type of paint you use, and there's also top coat, panel lining, decals. Well, again, that's it if you want to like take it in, but try and instead of trying to overwhelm yourself with all these techniques that you want to do, try and pick just a few, and then apply and do those things on this kit. And whether you like make failures or not, you're learning. You know, you gotta. That's the best way to learn, is to actually fail from your personal hand experience, because you know you can learn from the internet, from other people indirectly, but it's only once you've experienced it yourself, like firsthand. It's like riding a bicycle. You know, you can listen to your friends or like watch YouTube videos on how to ride a bicycle, but it's not gonna actually get processed in your head until you've like actually tried it. So it's the same thing with the model building. So that's my first advice, is that try and do smaller steps into one kit. You've done it into one, and say, okay, cool. Now with the next kit, you say, okay, how can I improve what I've learned, and then maybe add a new thing. You know, for example, maybe your first kit you didn't add decals. The second kit saying, okay, now I want to add water slide decals, for example, you know, and then go again. That's just my tip. You know, you can listen or don't listen, do however you want, but yeah, that's my advice going about it. And Kola Hund, yeah, thank you for the follow. And really nice of you to join us at the build meet on Saturday. Yeah, and yeah, after the stream I'll watch your speed time lapse video of your Moon Gundam build. I'll check it out. Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah, about Hawkeye. Machine Heart, hey, pause here. Hey, how's it, Build Force? Yes, Build Force assemble, yay. 30 minutes in and Jeff still hasn't started. It feels like the day before we went to Comic-Con all over again. You know, I just spent the whole stream, you know, chatting with the chat and giving out prizes, whereas this time I don't have any prizes to give away, but I'm still just rambling on. Okay, right, so Shogun says it's good to leave the first 30 minutes for chatting. If people are chatty, then you can do your own thing. Yeah, it's, you know, kind of warm people up, you know. I also warm myself up. Hey, how's it going from Cold Horn? Yeah, very good. Yeah, both my girlfriend and I are recovering pretty well. I'm still getting a bit of a, you know, phlegm and dry cough, but yeah, otherwise it's all good. Space Stussy, hello, hey, good to see you again, man. Cool, sweet. Okay, so I've caught up with the chat. Yay! So first thing, before we get into sanding, this is one tip I like to give. When it comes to any sanding projects, I like to start off with this one tool. Okay, give me a moment here. Okay, and that's a piece of towel it's a piece of towel that you dedicate to this hobby only. Don't try and use it for, like, you know, say, oh, this is towel I, you know, normally use for showering, and, you know, oh, I'll just use it for, well, you can if you want to, but I always feel like it's better to have like a dedicated thing for your hobby use, so you don't get mixed up in your laundry, because obviously as you sand, you've got like microplastics in this towel. So obviously I'll like wash this piece of towel as well, but I'll wash it like separately on its own. Yeah, because I don't want microplastics contaminating my other piece of clothing. So cool. Okay, so maybe I can talk about some of the tools that I use. So okay, so let me shift this camera a little bit. So obviously when it comes to sanding, maybe I should say why I sand. Yeah, okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. So why do you sand a kit? Just in case, for people, like, I'm sure most people in the chat are saying, oh, Jeff, what is this, like, fucking noob class, like 101 or something? Well, just in case, maybe some people do want to hear it. I don't know, hopefully. Like all the people who's already done some paintings, like, oh, come on, man, what is this? Rookies. Tip for rookies. Anyway, so obviously when you build a kit, when you snap off parts, where you snap it off the runner, there's like the piece of gate that flows into the piece. So obviously you cut the piece by the gate, and it will leave like a little nub mark. Let's see, like I've done a lot of like permanent markers over it. So wherever you see like permanent marker, usually I mark it because there's like a nub mark, and this is actually one of the like tips I like to get into. But basically all the nub marks will be on a kit, and if you plan on painting the kit, or even if you don't plan on painting the kit, it's always nice to get rid of that nub mark, so you have like a flat smooth finish to the surface, so that, you know, when you put it on your shelf, it looks nice. But the most important thing for painting is that, you know, if you don't get rid of those nub marks, ooh, Ren, thank you for the subscribe, thank you. I don't know if you're Ren, is it the same Ren in our Discord? I don't want to assume, but in case you're not Ren from our Discord, I just want to say okay, you said yes. Okay. I was gonna do the whole spiel. I was like, oh, thank you for the subscribe, and are you in South Africa, and are you into Gunpla? But yeah, you said yes, so I didn't need to do that. Well, I kind of just did, didn't I? Okay, anyway, so as I was saying, where was I? Rishi, hey Rishi, thank you for the subscribe. Thank you. Rishi says, let's go, the best place to be you and have the best hobby. Okay. Obviously just a typo there or something. But I think I get you. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you want to sand, like when you want to get into painting, it is very crucial to sand the nub marks, so that you know, once you apply your paint job and all that, it looks again nice. So to get rid of nub marks, you know, obviously there's lots of different tools. The most basic tool that you get into is sanding tools, or for example sandpaper that you can easily get from like hardware stores, or like sanding sticks that Bandai releases, and obviously a lot of other people as well. Sanding sponges, or sanding blocks. This is kind of like a very hard sponge. Then you also get, let's see, let me just grab from next to me here. You can also make your own sanding sticks, so you don't need to like dedicate yourself to buying tools. Okay, I can showcase that. Okay. Yeah. So for example, like these 3M sanding sponges are pretty nice. So like, nice thing about sanding sponges is that they're soft, so they're really ideal for curved areas. Same thing with the sandpaper. The sandpaper is probably my like go-to. Not only because they're cheap, but they are very flexible in terms of use. So because they are like just a piece of paper, they are ideal for curved areas as well. And if you want to go over any like flat areas, you can just like start folding them into each other to give it more support. Yeah. So if you want to make your own sanding sticks, you can basically just get like these popsicle, whatever, bamboo sticks or whatever, and then just double-sided tape, and then, you know, stick a strip of sandpaper across it. That's what I used to do actually. But I actually find this way that I'm doing now, with just rolling the sandpaper, is probably my best way of going about sanding for most applications. You know, it's nice and small, and you use what you get, you know, like otherwise if you use like a big sanding stick like this, you may find yourself, you're using the edges a lot, or using like certain areas a lot, and then, you know, it becomes a bit wasteful. Yeah, so I find this smaller sanding paper is actually my best go-to. Obviously the sanding blocks are really ideal for like flat surfaces, because again, here's another tip, is that this is another tool that some people use. I tried it, and it has its uses. Okay, so basically this tool here is like, it's designed for nail buffing or nail sanding, and it has like different grits. Yeah, that's something we need to get into, is the grits. So it goes from rough to like smooth, so you can polish the part back. My issue with this is that it's quite spongy, so I've noticed on some of my kit, especially with like the hard edges, if you go too much with it, it starts to curve the edge, and it just gives it a less mechanical feel, especially if you're building Gunpla with like hard edges. You want to maintain those hard corners to give it a nice mechanical feel. Yeah, so that's why I kind of be careful about using that. If it's for round areas, or round parts, then it's fine. Yeah, so coming back to it, talking about the different grits. So ideally when you sand, you want to go from low grit. As you can see here, this is probably like a very good example here. If I zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so these blocks is from Vallejo brand. They mostly make like paints, water-based acrylics, but they also make some certain tools, like such as these sanding blocks. So I quite like these because they're nice. They're not as spongy. They're quite hardy actually, and I can, you know, use them repeatedly. Like once there's a build up in the sanding surface, I just take a toothbrush and I just brush it out, you know. Oh, Matt Bateman. Sounds familiar. It's like a character from a movie or something. Sure, it rings a bell, but I can't think of it. This is from American Psycho. Is it? No. Is it? Am I going psycho? So Space Dusty gifted sub to Matt Bateman. Shot, thank you, Space Dusty. Okay. Okay, so where was I? So also a nice thing is they mark the grits on the side. Obviously there's two sides, and then each side, like the 60 grit here. As you can see, the lower the number, the rougher the surface. So generally I normally don't go like sanding my kit with like 60. I use like 240 or 400 to like start, just like a few light strokes over a nub depending on the situation, and then like 600 and 1000, then you start polishing it up. So that's the grits. That goes for the sandpapers. So when it comes to sandpapers, I usually just go for 4 like grits. You can find them at your usual hardware stores. So like you go for the 400, 800, I believe this is like 1000 and 1200. And if you're going into painting, stopping at 1000 is like in most cases enough. Once you spray on your primer should cover up and smoothen the micro scratches. But once you spray your primer, you can take a look at your piece and see if there's still scratches, and if there is, then go for a higher grit and just sand it down and just re-prime it again. Now if you're just doing like straight building, if you're not in painting on building a kit, you might go higher. You might want to go higher than that, because even at 1200, it still might have a very rough surface. So I think 3000 is pretty ideal to bring it back to like a not super shiny, but like kind of a plastic look to it. Yeah, cool. So I think that's the crash course on sanding and sandpaper, of course. And then maybe the tip I can give is like, maybe all this time you're wondering like, what's all these like red marks that you put on the kit. So basically I used just a marker of a different color to do a kit. Obviously, like I don't want this kit being mostly blue, I don't want to take a blue marker. I want to choose something that will stick out like a sore thumb. So I basically mark all the nub marks that you want to do this when you assemble your kit. Well, again, this is how I do it. You can do it however you want. Some people might want to like sand all the nub marks as they're cutting off a piece, and as they're assembling. But I actually don't do any sanding when I first assemble a kit. So I just assemble, and I play with it, fiddle with it, and I say, okay, now it's time to get into a paint project. Then this is the time where I say, okay, now, this is future Jeff's problem now. And while the kit is assembled, I mark all the visible nub marks, because then that way I know once I've taken off the piece to do the sanding, then I know the nub marks that I see that hasn't been marked. Once I have a piece in my hand, then I know, actually that piece won't get that nub mark won't actually get seen. So for example, like if I zoom in here, like this hip joint here, if I pull off the leg, Bandai has very nicely placed the gate by this peg, and when you cut off by the gate, it leaves that little nub. But as you can see, there's no mark on it because obviously it doesn't get seen because it's already covered up by another piece. So okay, that piece, me as a painter, I paint it up, sure, it's going to leave a bit of imperfection, like a little rough surface, but no one besides me will know there's a nub because it's part of the build. So that's kind of a make your life easier tip. It's just build your kit first and then mark all the imperfections like nub marks, and then you go from there. So now you might see, there's other areas that I marked, like for example up here. What's going on with that? So basically there isn't a nub mark there, but when it comes to manufacturing model kits or anything mass produced, you might find mold lines. So you can see there's a little reflection there. I marked it with a marker, you can see with the T. So that is essentially a mold line. So how mold lines are formed is that, you know, when they mass produce these model kits, is by like molds that's like it's two halves of like steel, solid steel, and then where they join and when they inject the plastic is, you know, you'll find there's a mold line there. So obviously that's also something, you know, you should treat before you do paint jobs, so it looks like ideal, nice and smooth. And there's another form of imperfection. This one's really hard to see, so I probably need to show it on camera. Sig sandwich. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Thank you for joining our stream. And just want to check, are you based in South Africa and are you a Gunpla builder? And if you're not, yeah, welcome either way. Hope you enjoy the stream. So maybe I can show you on this piece right here. So I marked, yeah, I'll zoom in for this. So this piece is like from the side of a leg. Yeah, finally getting to some action now after all this talking. Let's do some show and not just tell. So I know there's an imperfection here because I've sanded on the other leg. So to the naked eye, you might pick up where the imperfection is, or might not. Obviously the imperfection is not on where I marked it. I just marked it because I know this surface here, I want to sand this whole entire surface. So let me go from a low grit. Yeah, sorry for my clearing throats. I'm still recovering from the sickness. So yeah, let me go at it. Oh, that's it. Let me, before I get too into it, there's another tool I like to use. Well, not really a tool, right? Yeah. So besides, you know, I have a piece of towel to catch all microplastic or plastic dust. Ooh, plastic dust. Ooh. Forbidden, we get forbidden sprinkles and plastic dust. It won't make you fly though. It won't make you fly. Sorry about that. So anyway, the towel here is to catch the dust so it doesn't blow like the whole entire desk or workstation and you don't breathe into it. You know, traps it. But another way to trap dust is water. So I'll show you how I go about doing that. So a lot of times I actually do this. So I do wet sanding. So you have like your little container of water right beneath you. You can already see there's some particles from all my previous sessions. So if I zoom into it, okay, maybe I'll be here. Let me just position. There we go. Nice. So before I actually just get into sanding, what I like to do is to do wet sanding. So I take my little toothbrush. Again, the toothbrush that you use for hobby, try and keep it exclusive to your hobby use. Don't go like afterwards go brushing your teeth unless you're on like microplastics in your gum or something. So anyway, you like dab a little bit of water and you just like put it onto the piece. So the nice thing about wet sanding is that the little bit of water on a surface, it traps the dust, so it doesn't like fly around. You know, the particles don't fly around. So there you go. So do a bit of sanding. Okay, just on the high surface. I just want to show you. Okay, so now with a bit of you know, the plastic on the water, I just like wipe it on my towel. And I come, okay, so I just want to dry this piece so I can show you guys the imperfection here. Oh. Okay, so let's see, will it focus? Okay, so can you see, let me just bring my little toothpick here. How are we doing on time? 10 to 9, okay, that's pretty good. So around here, you see there's a bit of a lighter, like basically smoother surface. Also a bit of here, maybe a bit in the corner here, and maybe around there as well. So even though it's like a flat, well, it seems like a flat surface, there's some imperfections there. So what those imperfections show is that there's a bit of sinkage. I think the right terminology is like sink marks. So basically it's not an entirely flat surface, there's a bit of sinking to this piece here. So how that sinking is occurring is because, like, for example, like that area here, there's quite a bit of plastic gets injected into the piece. Obviously you can't see it much of it because I actually taken a snip on this peg, if you call it a peg. So it's much smaller, but basically when they inject the plastic, there's a lot of like plastic goes into that area here, and as it instantly cools down, like these things are get mass produced like milliseconds, but you know, so it's like injecting hot melted plastic, and then they suddenly cool it down like very rapidly within a second. So from the sudden hot to cold, obviously there's some like shrinking occurring. So that's what happens there. So what we want to do here is just keep sanding until that mark goes away. Then you know you have a nice even surface. Yeah. So I could go with, I believe this is a, okay, I feel maybe it's not an entirely flat surface. Maybe there's a slight curve to it. So I just want to go with my sandpaper instead of using the sanding blocks. Yeah, ooh, shit. Yeah, I believe there's a very slight curve like that way, if you can see it. I feel there's a slight curve. So I'm just going to go with my sandpaper here. That will conform to the shape of the piece. What's it? Self-contained SE? Yeah, thank you for the follow. And are you based in South Africa? Are you a Gunpla builder? Yeah. Speaking of which, I should probably check the chat soon. Okay, let me zoom slightly out. Otherwise it might feel a bit claustrophobic to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to sand a little bit more, and then let's check. Yeah, so sanding, you know, it's quite a process. I quite enjoy it. So some people say, oh, it's such a tedious process, you know, there's so many pieces. But you know, you can always put on a show, you know, your favorite show, your favorite podcast, stream. For example, you know, you can watch our stream and just lurk and, you know, do your thing. I'm sure many are doing that. I do it myself as well, you know, on the side. And yeah. And, you know, sanding really gives you an opportunity to, like, sit with your own thoughts and, you know, hopefully it's not anxiety-filled thoughts. Yeah, gives you a calm in the storm, you know, of our daily lives. Yeah. Okay, so I've sanded a bit more, and you can see the marks are gone. So obviously I've sanded. It's like, again, these things are so, like, what I've sanded here is probably like micro millimeters. So like, people say, like, you know, why even bother? Like, it's when people see a model kit like from a bit of a distance, they probably won't even see the imperfections. So sometimes it's purely for myself, but also at times is that got to keep in mind when it comes to model kit building, or especially if you're entering into competitions, it's going to be judged very, like, I wouldn't say harshly, but the judges are going to look at your stuff very closely, whether it's in person or when you take photos. You know, it has to be a close-up, and that's when people are going to, like, look really closely at your kit and see if you've done a good job, you know, with the surface preparation. Because the biggest thing is, like with any painted kit, the painting is the second half of the race. The first half of the race is the actual preparation work. You know, it's all the foundation. And this is a good example to get into. Like, why do I sand that piece? Because this is actually something I brought up recently with some of our Build Force members. Recently, I said to them, there's different finishes that you do to a kit. You know, there's like matte, semi-gloss, and gloss, or if you want to call it like, what's it, satin finish and gloss finish, whatever. Like, matte, obviously, it's got a very flat look, because matte top coats, for example, has a rougher surface, so that way when a light hits it, it will diffuse the light, so it will look, you know, like a matte flat surface. But if you intend on doing a gloss finish on your kit, you know, obviously with glass top coat, glass is a very smooth surface, so like light will like bounce around and to show, and then that's where the imperfections will really get highlighted. So for example, like if I didn't sand this piece just a little bit, just to like make it smooth, if this kit I wanted a glass finish, it will like show up quite obviously. Okay, for this kit I'm not intending for a gloss finish, I'm going for a matte, but that's just especially like people who do like cars or bikes, like vehicles, you know, glass finish is kind of like a standard, right? And yeah, glass is very you have to do a lot of prep work to prepare the surface for a good glass paint job. So it's a good, you know, practice to have, or even just knowing about it. Yeah. Okay, so obviously after I sand it with like 400 grit, and then I work my way up to like 800, and then 1000. And then 1200. Okay, so let's take a look now. Yeah, see, there you go, gone. Well, there's still a little bit of something there, so I will, I see, so that little sinkage there is from these pieces, you know, extra plastic that gets injected there. So oftentimes you'll find like big smooth surfaces, you'll find your sink marks over there, and especially if there's any like extra plastic gets injected behind the piece, and that's the key areas to look out for. Yeah, so that's again, sand that part again, so just a little bit of dab of water to catch the plastic fairy dust. Okay, then let's dry it off and see. Almost a little bit more. And yeah, you know, with nub marks and other imperfections such as mold lines, it's a similar process. You know, you just go with your high. Go with your low grit. Do your big, like try and take it all down, the roughness with your low grit, and then try and polish it. Maybe polish is not the right word. Then work your way up with a higher grit to smoothen or reduce the micro scratches from the lower grit sandpaper. Okay, let's check. Well, come on, dry it nicely. Okay, still a bit of wetness. It's got a bit of a stage fright, huh? There you go. Yeah. Now you see, hey, it's nice and smooth. Well, there's like very tiny little micro scratches, but you know, like I said before, your primer. That's what the primers are for. They will cover up any like micro imperfections. Yeah, excuse my rough throat here. I've still got a bit of cough. Okay, cool. So I think that's kind of the basics about sanding. You know, just about taking your time and enjoying the process. So the next thing I would like to do is to show you guys how. Let's zoom out a little bit first. Next thing I want to show on stream is how I go about customizing or like a very simple modification. On how to like make my own shorter knife here from a longer sword. Maybe simple is not the right word, because it does take a bit of like, there's a bit of tips I would like to share, but it's not like a overcomplicated, over ambitious, you know, task. It's just like saying, okay, we've got a knife and we're basically just shortening it. Well, to put it simply. And how do we go about it? Well, I'll show you. Okay, so let's move that aside. Before we get into that, let me just quickly catch up on the chat. Nah, I hope it's quick. So where were we? Hey, Loud Lungs is here. How's it? Okay, I think I just need to scroll up a little bit. I hope you're like recovered from your sickness as well, eh? Sure, it's the change of season, right? Like the guys in Joburg, like where I'm based, you guys feel like now it's like getting into winter now, hey? The last few bit of rain, and now it feels like winter. Okay. Nowhere Luke says, I prefer scraping off nut marks with my teeth. They are natural. They are nature's hobby knife. Yeah, yummy plastic. Like a little hamster. Just eat everything. Epic says, busy sanding with the Vallejo ones right now. Love them. Yeah. Do you have the same one as the one I have, or do you have like different configurations? Because I know they release like, I think, thinner ones. Yeah, I like these fatter and thicker ones because it's really nice to hold in my hand. Yeah. However, I also really enjoy the Bandai's mini sanding sticks because, you know, just being so small, it's a very nice lightweight. I can change my positions, and also just it's very ideal for smaller areas or tighter corners as well. Oh, by the way, the Bandai ones, obviously they don't show numbers, but they color code it. So the red is the lowest grit, I think it's 400, blue is 8, and white is 1000. Nice and simple. Yo. Sisig Sandwich, new Gunpla enthusiast. Hope to learn from the best. Ah, thank you. Nowhere near the best, but yeah, but thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Space Tassie says, use the towel to collect plastic dust for seasoning on top of forbidden sprinkles. You guys. And then what, like add it on top of forbidden rice and whatever else. Maybe that's a competition idea. Okay, maybe not a competition idea, but maybe just like a, I don't know, idea saying, okay, come up with the wackiest food related thing you can make from your forbidden sprinkle collection, or your runners from your, like, yeah, excess runners. Like, see what kind of food you guys can make. Like, I don't know, forbidden Cocoa Pops, forbidden, I don't know, cupcakes. Yeah, you guys can go wild. I don't know. Forbidden noodles. You know, you melt forbidden ramen. Yeah, you melt the runners, the long edges. You cut them into like long strips, and then you melt them, and then like turn them into like spaghetti or ramen or something. Yeah. Okay. Maybe, yeah. The ideas are going off now. Okay. C6 sandwich, does it have to be a toothbrush approved by dentist? Well, look, just if it's a brush and if it's small enough for you to handle, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I used to use like, you know, obviously you replace your toothbrush after every few months, you know, when the bristles gets like all frayed and loose. Well, not loose, but like, yeah, all frayed and stuff. I used to use my old toothbrushes for hobby work, but I found, okay, like, I wanted to try a new toothbrush just for dedicated for hobby work, and I find the new bristles, they, you know, because they're all nice and straight, they work better on getting the dust out of the model kits, or dust out of like sanding sticks, or, you know, sandpaper. It has works more effectively. Yeah. No way, Luke, I thought you were supposed to be sniffing sanding residue, you know, for maximum plastic addiction. Oh, you guys. Oh. Loud lungs, how's the chums? Got you on the side while I play some games. Oh, nice. What game are you playing? Okay, let's see. Okay, you guys are, I think you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Okay. Kolahon says, unfortunately I can't watch anime and build at the same time. My Japanese is not good enough. Yeah, well, you can always watch with dubs, or you can watch, like, you don't have to watch anime, you can watch, like, I don't know, Hell's Kitchen from Gordon Ramsay or something, you know? Watch something in a language that you do understand. Noe Luke says, then watch some nature documentaries narrated by David Attenborough. Yeah. Yeah. Pushkidin gotta base the parts for sanding. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Just going, not reading every single chat. Okay, cool. I think I've caught up. Kolahon says, I usually just do my best with the hobby knife, so I don't have to really sand much. Yeah, you can also use the hobby knife. Yeah. The nice thing about sanding is just that, you know, it's like flushed surface, you know, with the surrounding areas of the nub, you know, because if you're taking a knife and scraping at it, obviously, like, you're trying to avoid the rest of the surface, so you might not go as close, so you might still have a tiny little speed bump, you know. So it's nice to go over, like, with the sandpaper, just so that you cover the entire surface and make sure it's like consistent flat finish. Again, you're probably not gonna notice it from bare plastic, but once you get into painting, no matter what finish it is, like whether it's matte, semi-gloss or gloss, any kind of imperfections does stick out much more obviously compared to a straight build. So keep that in mind. And obviously, you know, if you're painting or customization for the fun of it, hey, it's your kit, you know, whatever floats your boat. But however, if you are entering a competition, then you know those prep work will be scrutinized, you know. Yeah. So know that ahead of time, you know, before we get into competing. Kolahond, I can do the ramen thing, just take a box of runners and use my heat gun. Yeah. I hope you wear a respirator when you heat it up. In case of, well, not in case, there will definitely be lots of toxic fumes. Okay, so now I've caught up with the chat. Let's get into I think our last segment of the stream. So let's see if we can accomplish this mission. Is basically I'll show you guys on stream how to customize, well, not customize, how to modify existing piece into something, you know, like an easy task. You know, what we're doing here, we're not adding to it, we're reducing to it. Yeah. So I'm gonna take my basic nipper. Yeah, again, I've got something like this. You want to use your grunt nipper. So my nice nipper, you know, I will keep it away. Like your favorite child, you wanna protect them from the harsh reality of life, and then your black sheep of the family can you know take a bit of abuse. So do that. Okay, I will also be using some files. Sure. And let's see, what else would I need? I think that's pretty much, I think. Yes. Okay, so before we get into the cutting process of it, I just want to explain kind of my design thinking here. So like, how do I know how much I want to reduce the length of a blade? Is I actually look at the design of a kit, because yeah, so before I even go into the physical side of things, I do a bit of thinking, saying, okay, how do I want to approach this? Why? What is the reason behind it? You know, what don't I like about the existing design? So the biggest thing I don't like about the existing design, it's way too long. You know, I mentioned before, I want this unit to be like a covert unit, you know, maybe it has to get through some tight, you know, and that's why they're half of the size of a Gundam unit, just so they can get through smaller areas, tighter spaces. And imagine, you know, if you're trying to do like tight turns or tight spaces and you have this freaking long blade, katana, like samurai wannabe, or whatever, you have this long ass blade coming out of your ass. Well, okay, not out of your ass, but out of your armpit, yeah? You know, you're going to be bumping into things. So, not really practical. So I wanted to reduce it to be more form-fitting. Can be aerodynamic, because also this is also a kind of an aerial kit. But yeah, I kind of want to follow the design of the kit, and you know, to make it more aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. So I imagine saying, okay, if this is because this thing can angle, popped off. If this thing can swivel around, I like to imagine what is the default angle like the resting angle of it. So I say, okay, maybe like this is the resting angle, and I say, okay, I would like the blade to, and let me just take a file here just to show you. I would like to follow the you know, to make a parallel with other design aspects. Again, this is something that you guys can pick up maybe as tips for when you want to get into modification, is that oftentimes when you modify a kit, try and work with what's already there and like enhance the design language instead of trying to create new design elements that's going to clash. You know, it's all about aesthetics, right? So personally I feel this, you know, it makes sense, nice and short, and it follows you know, the design aspect of the rest of the kit. So yeah, that's why I made it shorter. And also a tip, I took a round or half round file, and I found, maybe I should zoom in for this aspect here. So as you can see, the tip of a blade is not like on the inner edge or the weaker, yeah, the weak side, or the, yeah, whatever you call it, the blunt side. Sure, it's been a while since I did like medieval sword fighting, so I should know some of these terminologies. So I took a half round file and I kind of filed it in so that the tip is not on the edge. Zoom slightly out, so now the tip of a blade is more like centered with the grip, so that, you know, when it has hit when I imagine when this again, that's something you want to like try and do when you modify your kits or whatever. Try and imagine scenarios. So I imagine a scenario when it does any strikes or stabs with the blade. When it hits the impact, all the momentum is going through right in the center, rather than like off balance, because if it's off balance, it might just ricochet and like deflect. So yeah, that's my thinking here, is that it's the tip of a blade is right in the center. Yeah. So anyway, that's my thinking, and now let's get into it. So we're trying to just replicate what we've done here. So I've done with a marker, I kind of just really loosely to say, okay, it's around about there. So let me go into it here. There you go. We've made the cut. Ooh, ooh, shit. Ooh. Okay, so we made the first cut. Okay, now you can say, let's try and match the tip now. So I know I'm gonna get into the sanding part. So no, okay, should be fine. I can sand away all these red markers and I should still be fine. So let's move our stuff away here. Let's bring our our water. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my really rough low grit sanding block here. Okay, hopefully I'm not blocking the camera. Okay, maybe it's too rough. I'll go, ooh, it's still quite rough here. Okay, again, if you feel like this way it's a bit weird, go with, like, if it's a flat piece, then go with it, if that's the right way to describe it. Yeah, oftentimes when it comes to sand, especially sanding kits or sanding parts, you almost want to like become one with the piece. So the way you position your, you know, or angle your tools in your hand is kind of a fun aspect. See what works better and more efficient. So go slow. Yeah. Better to go slow than to go too fast and then sand too much and you can't bring it back. Yeah. Or maybe not that you can't bring it back, it will be more troublesome to bring it back. And it's always easier to take away than to add back, you know. So it's a similar thing to doing weathering on your kit, whether it's like physical weathering or paint job weathering. Doing less, doing slowly at a time, and then stopping every now and then, checking yourself, and then continue to add more, rather than just going ham on it, going really nuts, and then say, oh shit, I've actually gone too overboard, and now it's a bit harder to reduce what you've done. So similar thing here. Okay, so we're getting close. Another, maybe, I wonder if I can do it here on, I want to try this tip. Just want to see. It's already 9:30. I'm just trying to think in my head if I can find a quick way of doing, I want to keep both of the blades together, because I'm getting kind of close and I do want to match them quite closely. I want to put something in between that's thick enough to hold them together. Perhaps this is the perfect tool. Yes, maybe. Close enough. Close enough. Yeah. Normally I'll go grab a better tool, but this will be this. I think this will do the trick. Okay, I'm gonna go to a higher grit now. So let's go 420. So it's always easier to do modification to one piece, and then when you have to replicate it onto another piece, that's another thing. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a marker and just kind of, okay, just checking the camera here. Also, I'm not going to be too pressure about the piece, because if they're not exactly 100%, that's also fine. So most of the time these blades are not going to be placed on top of each other, you know, they're going to be you know, a bit further away, so people won't really tell the difference. Okay, so I just like put it on top of each other and marked it, so I kind of know how much more to go. Okay, again I'm moving up the grid now, and this is still like the easy stage. The harder part will be how to get your the edge, sharpening the blade. That I do have a nice trick to share, so hopefully nobody's bored already saying, oh man, there's not much exciting action going on here. All I see is some plastic fairy dust or plastic cocaine getting manufactured here. See, so the marker is a really nice tool to just indicate how much you should sand. And also try and keep your be aware of your tool's angles. So you want to be as perpendicular, the right term. So you want to be like 90 degrees to the surface, so you're not creating a weird edge. So sometimes what I like to do is just like hold, like once I have the contact, and just change your angle, your viewing angle, and see, oh, am I 90 degrees or am I like too angled? Yeah, so you want to keep it, you know, like there, and just work with it, you know. So move around as you sand. Okay, getting close. And even if we sand a little bit too much, you know, at the very end, we can also like reduce, like sand, you know, a bit of this one just to match them, you know. So it's not just, oh, we have to try and match the one. It's like, if you sand a bit too much of the one, then it's fine. You can just sand the other one just to match it. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. You know, all of this is a very organic and creative process. So be kind to yourself and just chill, have fun with it, have fun with the process, you know. Don't need to be too anal, perhaps. Or maybe I'm already being really anal with all these processes. But yeah, the most important thing is, like, as long as you enjoy it. Yeah. Okay, so very close, very close. Keep going a little bit more. Okay, let's check. So I've sanded a little bit over for one of the tip. I believe that's fine. Okay, now let's see. Let me just check again. Yeah. Okay. So I've over sanded by the tip a little bit, but then here I still want to sand a little bit, so I'm going to change my angle slightly. Okay. Okay, close enough. Cool. So now, I'm not gonna worry about the end there. I'm gonna show you guys how I do that. That's the this part centering of the blade. That's something I like do last. So here I want to show you how do we sharpen a blade to match the middle. Okay, let me zoom in. Okay, so how do I match the middle? Again, the trick is to use a marker. Yay! So I'm gonna mark it there in the center. So I'm gonna, as I'm sanding one side, I'm gonna try and meet the middle. Okay. And just look at my first blade as a reference. Yeah. Okay. So I also sand about. And also you want to mark it with, again, with blade here. I'm going to put it here. I'll say, okay, around about there, perhaps. Okay, just making sure I'm on camera. Okay, so I'm going to sand, angle like that. Okay. Gonna go with my 400 grit here. Let me zoom out slightly here. Okay. So maybe this one, feel maybe the sanding block is a bit too big. It might block my viewing angle. So I'm gonna go with a file, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, so going with the flat file. Just gonna start on the edge. Again, just go lightly and go slow, and then just stopping every now and then just to check how we are. Yeah. And almost just become one with the piece that you're working on. Okay. So what I'm watching out for is pretty much, where's that toothpick of mine? There you go. Let's zoom in slightly. So what I'm like watching for is like sanding and stopping to where that marker is, and also to kind of gauge where the middle of this marker is as well. Yeah. So I kind of keep like shifting slightly my angle just to make sure I don't go over, you know. We probably won't have it perfect by the end of the stream, but I want to get the gist of it, just to, for the sake of sharing that tip, for the technique. Because this tip that I'm showing now, I actually haven't seen, well, at least myself, I've never bothered to do the research, so I haven't seen this kind of tip for shaping blade or blade edge. So I kind of just developed it on my own, I suppose. I'm sure it's a very basic thing. Yeah, I've never googled saying, well, how do I sharpen an edge to match both sides, kind of thing. Okay, so we're getting close. So what I usually like to do is, like, once I'm getting close, I actually stop and I move to the other side. Yeah. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm gonna move onto the other side, and then we can always compare the two blades. So the other side always feels slightly like you gotta almost like reorientate your mind as well, because it's mirrored. So your hand position and your way of thinking, it has to be like slightly adjusted. Again, go slow, go gentle with it, especially at the tip. You know, once it gets thin, it gets more delicate. So even though we do want to like sand it off, you want to just not do any damage. But there's always room for battle damage afterwards. So but I, you know, for something like this, during this phase, I always try and keep it like almost achieve factory default pristine quality. And then when I want to do battle damage, then it will be intentional rather than, you know, happy accidents. But that's just something that you can also work to your advantage. You know, it's, if you make a boo-boo somewhere, like especially physically, then you can work it into your story. Create a story out of it, saying, oh, how did it actually get this damaged? And oftentimes the tip of a blade it's the thinnest part of a weapon, so you know it will get damaged often. But in my head, the story for this guy, you know, it's like they go on these covert missions. You know, every time you start the mission, generally you get like new loadout, right? You don't get like some leftover blade saying, here you go, it's blunt, whatever, go do your thing. Usually in most cases, like, yeah, we want you to have a successful mission. Take a new blade with you. Yeah. Or at least in my head, that's the scenario. So yeah, you know, when you do these things, think of scenarios. Imagine. Use your imagination. I think that's the strongest point when it comes to any kind of creative work, is that if you've got the reasons behind it, for example, a story, or even just a scenario, you know, you don't need to think about the stories like, oh, you know, the pilot, his family got eaten by dinosaurs or whatever. You don't need to have that. But if you just have a basic scenario, a believable one, it doesn't need to be realistic, but can be believable. Then sells, you know, having the story or scenario, it drives your design thinking. You know, coming from a designer background, the weakest thing to have is like, you know, when they ask you, oh, why did you do this? It's like, oh, because it looks cool. You know, that's for personal creativity, yeah, that's good, cool. You're having fun with it, that's fine. But just to let you know, if you're intending on getting more serious level, like entering into competitions and contests, then you're up against other people. So, you know, you need to up your game a little bit, and it starts from not only the skills of doing what you do, but also the reasons behind it. And that's why in our entry form, when you well, not entry, your final submission of your final build, you know, your photos, we asked you to type out like a you know, explaining, give us a bit of insight to your build process and your thinking process. And, you know, so we know, oh, this is how you thought about it, your angle, your reasoning, and that will help sell your build to the judges. So keep that in mind. Everything that we do has a reason. There's something kind of personal gripe of mine. When I see people get into scribing and they go scribing like crazy, without like, oh, you're just scribing more lines. More lines equals cool. It's like, yeah, more can actually work against you. Less is more. Think about what those scribing lines mean and what's their purpose. Look at real life references. Look at a plane. For example, when we traveled down to Cape Town, when we flew, it's like, yeah, right by the window seat, and there was like the sure, the wings, yes. Like, it slipped my mind. It's like, what do you call those things? We looked at the panel lines. We looked at the rivets, the little latches. They all have, reasoning behind them, design purpose. We shouldn't have panel lines. We should have panel lines. Where it should have latches, or even little, yeah, they all have reasons to them. Again, that's if you're designing something that's trying to be believable and realistic. But even stuff that's like fantasy based, they all still have like designs based on how this thing gets used. So all has reasons. So as you can see, we're kind of getting there. So here it is. Means that obviously it still needs some work to be done. I'm gonna look from like different angles as well, like from example like here on the back of the blade, and say, okay, how is my two lines? It's a bit hard to tell on camera probably. So now I've done the big grunt work, and then I go in a bit more controlled. I want to change my loadout here. I'm going to use this lower grit. Well, not lower grit. It's just this file here. It's got a kind of quite a build-up of residue, so it's doesn't have more bite to it. So I'm just take this other file here and go at it. This is kind of our first stream, kind of doing it like a sanding stream. Most of the time we've been doing build streams where Paul and I, we build, we take turns with the streams to build like a kit, or snap build a kit. So just want to check, how do you guys find a stream like this where we're not, building a kit rather than, we're going into the more, I suppose maybe it's less exciting to people watching, you're not seeing a model getting built together, whereas here you're just seeing like me standing on a part. Yeah, not much action going on. How do you guys feel about that? So if you guys like it, and maybe I'll do like a bit more of it, because yeah, I'm sure you guys noticed, you know, I've been shifting away. Like in my last few streams, I've been, you know, not building a kit. Like for example, that Pikachu kit, I sanded, not sanded, I painted on stream. And then there was one stream where I disassembled this kit, and it's like I haven't been building new kits because I actually want to like limit myself now, because obviously I do want to get back into the painting side of things. But if I keep straight building a kit, you know, it adds to my paint backlog, because in my head I always want to paint all my kits. But if I keep building, you know, yeah, sure, I'm building joy, but I'm also giving myself quite a bit of pressure, saying, oh shit, you know, now my paint backlog keeps building. So I kind of, so you know, if people like this kind of stream where I'm not building a new kit, then maybe I'll do more of it, or maybe both of us will do more of it. Okay, so now I'm getting close on both sides, and I'm just like looking at this, like I'm judging this shape here at the very tip. I don't know if you guys can see. This tip here, just to see, okay, if I'm matching, you know, matching the angle, and also matching like down to the middle. So what I can do again, use my marker friend. So in this time I'm gonna mark just to where I've sanded, because seeing the gray on gray is a bit harder. It's less effective than seeing it on like a red. So I'm just sorry, it's not even focusing here. So I'm just using the marker to edge, like mark to the edge of where where the blade shape is, and also here in the middle, just like do a. So now I can really see, okay, how's the shape? Okay, obviously it's not super sharp just yet. Again, slowly work into it. Because remember, it's much easier to sand away than to, you know, bring it back. So let me take them like here just to gauge. Okay, it's about that much distance. So the blade distance is kind of matching, but the tip here is much shorter than this part here. So I'll probably sand a bit more like that. And this is quite parallel, so that's fine. So that means when I sand here, I want to apply a bit more force on like this area, and like probably just like best way to describe it is like push here and hover over there, so you're not actually sanding. So again, the marker helps because it knows where I'm sanding. I know I haven't been reading the chat, but I will do shortly. Just want to keep momentum here, so you can see like where I'm, where the marker's getting sanded off. So I'm sanding more here just to widen it, to keep it kind of matching it. So you know, this is a simple modification, but does require like attention, as with any kind of modification, I suppose. And that's why I maybe wanted to show off this part, like this kind of simple modification, just to show you, yes, it's not super difficult, but there are elements to be aware of. And if you can get the small things right, the fundamentals, then you can apply those skill sets to much more ambitious tasks and modifications. Oftentimes I see new builders, for example, they'll check out YouTube and they'll say, oh, I don't know, I'm not shitting on anybody, but for example, like, oh, Studio G, they go, oh my god, look how like complex these build is. And I find those kind of complex build actually, is it loses a bit of like meaning for new builders. Yeah, sure, but you'll see, like, if you look at a lot of pro builders, like pro as in like these people get commissioned to be building for magazines or into competitions and stuff. Their builds are generally a bit more toned down, like on a very surface level. It might look simple, but for experienced builders, they can see how much it goes into it. It's like the subtle nuances, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like when somebody's new, they go really crazy, in terms of modification, or so many scribing lines, or a lot of weathering. They go ham on it, and only like once you develop. And I'm speaking from experience. Like when I first got into weathering, I fucking like dry brushed every fucking surface. And suddenly afterwards, like I look at it as like, after a few more builds, I look back and say, dude, what the fuck? Like there was no thinking process to the weathering. It didn't make sense. It's too universal. It's weathering everywhere, and essentially doesn't make sense, And it's a similar thing with like modifications as well. It's about subtle nuances, and it's only once you've done a few custom builds, then you can look back, or even look at other people's work and say, it's a bit too much. It's like, yeah, sure, you spent like 800 hours doing it, but it's a bit crazy. And for what? For the sake of crazy? Yeah, it's again, not shitting on anybody. I'm just saying this is something I pick up from like new builders compared to pro builders. Yeah. And again, if entering contests or competitions is your thing that you want to work towards, these are the things that you want to pick up. Is like knowing when to stop. That's the biggest thing. Constraints is like the pro move. In the beginning you go wild, and later on okay, how to pull yourself back. So you spend your energy on the right places, instead of too much and everywhere. For example, I'm spending a lot of energy on these blades because that's the only modification I'm doing to this kit, and I want it to be a covert unit where melee is its main fighting style. So I am focusing on these blades. That's the focal point of my build, is these blades. It does have a rifle, but I want to tell a story that this is the scenario of this build. Like the intention of this machine is to go in, and sneakily take out its target. Okay, so matching the middle quite nicely, and then both sides, I feel it's matching good enough, I think. Close enough, I feel. So yeah, with all this rambling, I hope it helps you guys, those of you that's entering into our competition or international competitions. That's how the judges will think most of the time. Okay, another thing I want to check the blade is I want to just make sure it's right in the center. So I'm going to like angle it. I'm trying to angle it for the camera. I don't know if it's going to be picked up by the camera. Look at all the micro little dust getting picked up, collected by the water there. So I'm gonna look at the base middle of this blade here, and I'm gonna turn it in an angle like this, just so I can see, is it off center? My blade here that I'm sharpening, is it off center? And again, I'm gonna use the marker trick. So this is the technique I actually picked up when I was doing real sword making for my medieval combat. Is like angling the blade just to see, you know, how right of my work is. So I can see off the bat. I should also mark the blade part that I haven't worked on, so I can really see. So off the bat I can see I'm sanded a bit too much on one side. I hope it can be picked up. It's very tiny nuance. So basically I've sanded this edge too much and this part too little. So what's happening with the edge is that it's going in a line like this, and then it's going off like to the right and then carry on like that. So it's off center. So now seeing that, what I'm gonna do is come back to this edge. I'm gonna sand a bit more, but I'm not gonna sand in an angle where I'm gonna continue this part. I'm gonna angle a little bit more just so that it's, how do I describe it? Like just sand in the middle so it can correct itself back to the middle. Again, this amount of finer attention to detail I'm doing here is because, again, like I said, these blades is going to be the like almost some of the focal point to my storytelling, you know, which is going to be part of a photography when I do the poses and stuff. So it's very likely that the photos are going to be looking at these blades quite closely in certain shots. So I just want to make sure that they look good. I want to get it as close as if it's done like by a machine, you know, rather than done by a human being. Okay, so let's take a look. There you go, much better. There you go, it's flowing to the middle. And obviously the molded detail here is a bit blunt. So what we can do, just take a file, just going lightly at it, just to sharpen it a little bit. You want to match them. Same on this side, just a little bit. And even blunt it a little bit, just a little. And then sharpen it a little bit more. Okay. So let's check here, and maybe I'll check the chat. Okay. Am I all the way? Am I zoomed in? Like all the way zoomed in. So yeah, I'm quite happy about the results at the moment. Again, probably once I end the stream, or even tomorrow, I'll go over it again just to really match the two blades. But you can see like they're not exactly matching in terms of the depth. Obviously we still need to sort out the tip there, but you know, then we can really go back and forth. But I just want to make sure I achieve that 90%, you know, identical in both blades, and just go, you know, once. Maybe I'll even send out the rest of the kit and then once I have time, then go back and say, oh, you know, I really want to meticulous and just like, oh shit, what? Eh? Load shedding. I thought I. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't plug in up here. Is the internet still there? Is the internet still? Okay, so it's just my power up there. Switch. Oh, that's fine. So, stream should still be there. Whoopsie! Load shedding. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, I had my EcoFlow on. Plugged my modem in, so I don't think we've like interrupted the stream too much in terms of internet wise. So probably just like lights off for you guys. So yeah, we should still be good. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about these blades, something about them. Oh yeah, I just said like, you know, get a 90% close, and then, you know, I can keep like go to another, you know, rest of the kit, you know, finish it off, and I can come back saying, okay, you know, with the remainder time, I just want to give it a few more polish just to match them, you know, get it closer. But yeah, for most parts, I'm quite happy about that. And then I do want to mark where I want to maybe zoom in a little bit. So now I want to do the whole centering of the blade thing. So I'm gonna just put it here, try and match it. Yeah, load shedding. Yes, thank goodness for the EcoFlow. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much how much too far away. Okay, cool. So before I do that, let's just check the chat a bit. I've just been talking to myself the whole time, going crazy. Okay, just want to check the it's picking up at the end of it. I see Rishi says I'm heading off to bed. Hopefully, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, shot, thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, thanks for joining the stream. Hey, Enrico's here. It's been a while, hey? We haven't seen you posting anything in our Discord. Have you been working on projects? We've been missing the military and all your diversity of projects that you've been working on, you know, like whether it's car kits, military kits, all this stuff. Been missing it. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit to just see if there's anything I want to pick up on. Rishi says, okay, Rishi's probably gone, but I just want to read his message. He says, wait, hold the phone. Medieval sword fighting. Yeah, that's that was a sport I did before lockdown happened, and then 2 years later from COVID, you know, well, 2 years, probably a year, 2 years, around about then. That's when Gunpla SA started, and yeah, it's keeping me quite busy, you know, even on the weekends. So yeah, I still miss that sport. And guys even said like last week saying on Sunday, oh, you know, you want to come stop playing with your little robots and come join us for training. And it's like, yeah, I'll see how it goes, buddy. And yeah, and also I got sick, so yeah, But anyway, yeah, too many things to do with Gunpla SA, so unfortunately, you know, hopefully one day, you know. But yeah, it's something I do miss quite a lot. I used to take, like, every Sunday I used to go to my medieval armor smith's master, whatever I want to call him. The person in our team that makes a lot of our armors, or even like repairing our armors. I used to go to his workshop on Sundays for like over close to 2 years, probably, or over a year, just working on my own armor, working on my sword. Yeah. And then COVID hit, and yeah, kind of a shame. I miss it. But yeah, it's a very time-consuming sport and hobby. Pretty much like this, hey? So you gotta pick and choose, right? Okay, so Shogun says, okay, so just a tip, going slow, talk about how you use the tool, yeah. Can apply that to other parts of life. Mighty Mugu's here. Hey, how's it going, Mighty Mugu? Space Stassi says, need to head out. Thanks for the great tips. We'll watch the bird again. Sweet, yeah, thank you for joining. Yay. Okay, Vortex also heading out. Yeah, thank you for joining. Paul of Gunpla says, look at the plane intakes and yeah, talking about the details for references and stuff. Yeah, so it's always nice to, you know, take your everyday life around you as your reference. You don't need to always look at other model kits or other people's work as reference. You can look at your surroundings, especially if you're trying to make something look realistic. You know, then real life is your biggest reference. Especially oftentimes I drive in traffic and I'll see a truck in front of me, you know, stopping at the red robot. I was like, oh, look at the little rust chips and all the paint chips and how the rust build up and all the rain, like from all the rain marks of a rust, you know, and see where the chipping is, you know, wherever makes sense, you know, like, oh, you know, lots of people move up and down the trucks, so they'll be scraping off the paint, you know, see wet. Yeah, makes sense. Jonga says, he says, as in busy panel lining, scribing. Fortunately, machine design taught me to design for maintenance as a principle. Yeah, exactly. Gotta think about these giant machines. How much and how little part separation makes sense for panel lining. For example, like a piece like this, it's a big piece, but I almost feel like you don't need to you don't need to scribing part separation too much on this. Like maybe a little hatch is here somewhere. My thinking is like, it's because of the scale as well. This thing's like 1:72 scale, so it's not as like big as a Gundam. I almost feel like this is enough. Maybe I can separate this notch piece, like scribing like one line here, just to separate this piece here. But these like other panels, they could just be produced as one single piece. So if in battle, whatever maintenance, if this thing needs to be like, if it's damaged and needs to be swapped out, they can just reproduce this whole one piece pretty easily, you know, like maybe in the future manufacturing will be much easier. It doesn't need to be broken into like 5 pieces, because then that's actually more pain in the butt to build. You know, if you think about these things mass produced for war, the more pieces it has, the more time that the assembly crew needs, you know, to put it together. and more time equals more money, and you won't be able to produce as many of these guys compared to your opponents. So more pieces actually works against you. Yeah, so especially the grunt suits. They are grunt suits for a reason, you know, they are mass produced. So the easier they are, the easier to produce and maintain, you know. Gunpla say, Paul says, Jeff dropping some truth bombs. Not sure. I'm losing a bit of context here from time, but I take it's maybe like having constraints, like doing less equals more rather than doing too much, and just it becomes a clusterfuck to your eyes, and it loses a sense of reality or believability. Yeah. Enrico, okay, hey buddy, nice detail work going on there, Jeff. Yeah, it's not much detail work, but yeah, it's just little modifications. Yeah, thank you. It's been, yeah, like I said earlier, it's been a while since we've seen you in the Discord, hey? We miss you, man. We miss you. Okay, I think I've caught up on chat. Yeah, Paul says regarding the less is more, yeah. And Enrico says too long. Life busy, haha, working on lots. Don't like filling up the threads too much with my non-Gunpla stuff. No, I think that's actually a good thing. Please do fill it with non-Gunpla stuff. It gives a good angle to people in the hobby, you know. It keeps it nice and fresh. Okay, so for this, this is the last part I'm going to do before I end the stream. We're going over like 2 hours now, sure. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Am I zooming in enough? Maybe a little bit more. So what I'm going to do for the tip, just to center the tip of the blade, I'm going to just trim off with my nipper. Okay. And then go in, first of all, with my flat file. Just to get the angle nicely. Okay. And then just the edges a bit. Okay, once I've got that, and I take my half curved file, I'm just going to file in the middle to create that curvature. Going gently, not going to apply too much pressure so I can have more control. So I'd like to believe the tip of a blade is where it catches people's eyes, their attention. So this is where you want to be precise as you can with it. By the way, the music's okay. The music volume's not too high, is it? I'm just like thinking about it now. It's like, is it too high? It's like it's probably very late in the stream to ask that question, but yeah, it's good to know for future. I can always adjust it now and just remember for next time. Yeah. Otherwise, I will watch back my own stream just to always tweaking, always improving. One step at a time, just like model kit building, huh? Take one thing at a time. Get one thing right, or right enough, or rather get comfortable with one thing before you move on to the next. So if any of you in the chat that's listening and doing like custom builds or whatever, if you find, you know, if in any project that you do, whether it's Gunpla or any other kind of whatever creative stuff, or any work or any kind of thing, or especially so, like I'm going to talk about, you know, in terms of the model kit side of things, if you feel like you're doing a project with your model kit and you're feeling like a little bit burnt out, or fatigue or whatever, take a break, take a step back and say, okay, you know, am I doing too much? Am I burning out because I'm doing too much of it? Am I just trying to do, like, maybe my experience is not ready for a big project? Like, is your project too big? Are you doing like a master grade as your first custom build, or are you trying to accomplish too much, or not accomplish, are you trying to achieve or pull off too many techniques in one project? If that's the case, then what I can recommend is saying, okay, take a break, take a step back, do something else, start another project, but start a smaller one, a smaller kit, you know, maybe an entry grade or high grade, and do less with it. Just say, okay, I'm just gonna sand nub marks and do a base color scheme, you know, whether it's a custom color scheme or a Canon color scheme. Just do a base color and just say, okay, now do panel lining, not even decals, do it that, you know. And say, okay, I'm happy with this, and then move on. You know, it's just this build that I'm doing. I'm actually not doing any new techniques here. All these techniques is something I've done in the past, so I'm not doing anything new, and I just want to relax. I want to enjoy the getting back into the painting side of things, because I feel like I've fallen off the bicycle a bit. So purely nothing new, so I don't have to like trying to work my brain. It's like, it's kind of a relaxing, lazy build, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, it's just a hobby. Hey, enjoy the hobby rather than like, so you know, I want to be the very best. Yeah, I'm gonna spend 1 year on one kit. Oof, yeah, good luck to you, buddy. If you feel lots of fatigue halfway through, then pull yourself back. Yeah. Before running marathons, maybe just do like 100-meter sprints, you know? Get the basics right. Also, doing shorter projects gives you not only allows you to level up and gaining experience much faster rate than bigger projects, but you also feel like rewarded much faster. You know, you can have a quick turnaround time, you see your end results, and it's like, oh, you know, then you can start to self-reflect and say, oh wow, you know, this is the journey I took with this kit, and see where I've come. You know, it's not a long journey, but it's a, you know, you can at least still remember how you started compared to a long and an ambitious project. I almost feel like how I'm treating this knife here, it's almost like how I would treat sketching. So you get the fundamentals, like big picture, get it there, and then you go back and say, okay, the minor details, oh, the blade edges, you want to fine tune. Then you start going over and over. So you don't just like spend one area and you never deal with others. So you like get the big picture done, and then now you say, okay, now I want to tone everything in. So you sand, like blend it in, you know. So a lot of creative work, can share techniques or thinking with each other. What's the sound of Londo? Thank you for the follow. Hey, welcome. Are you based in South Africa, and are you a Gunpla builder? If not, I hope you enjoy your stay. We are kind of almost wrapping up, but yeah, just want to show you guys where I like have gotten off. So pretty close, huh? Would you say pretty close? Obviously the blades still needs a bit of work, the edge of the blade, but that's like the fine tuning, you know, that's like the 95-98%. Yeah, but most of the stuff, hey, it's getting there. And even this one, the first one I actually did, I even started doing some minor battle damage already. As if he's like, you know, taken out a few units already. So there's like certain tiny little scratches. I wonder if it's even gonna pick up on camera now. It's probably only gonna pick up once I get into the painting side of things. But there's some like deliberate, harsher scratches that I've done, like even there on the back of the blade. Yeah, like just little nicks into the steel, you know? Yeah. But anyway, I want to do as much as I can to get it like factory default, and then intentionally add in some like minor story points, saying, oh, you know, they can see this blade here has been used at least once or twice, kind of thing. It's not just a rookie coming to battle with a brand new knife, you know. It's like, oh, you know, look at my little toy. It's like, no, this guy's got some experience behind his blade. Yeah, cool. So yeah, that's what we have achieved today. So I showed you a little bit of sanding basics of not the nub marks. We just, you know, those are pretty easy to experience, but showing you sink marks and how to like pick it up. And I showed you the tip of marking imperfections. You know, when it comes to nub marks, mold lines, sink marks, or any surface that you like know that you should sand, just like mark it with a piece of marker. You know, with your whole kit assembled, then you know, okay, certain areas that doesn't get seen, or the nub marks or whatever doesn't get seen, if it doesn't have a nub mark, for example, like there, then, you know, you can just skip it if you wish. Yeah. And then I showed you how to do a simple modification of reducing a long blade into a shorter knife, and how to match with another. Yeah. Again, I know they are not 100% equal to each other, but that's the last like 2% or 5% of work to put in. Yeah. Okay. So I'll check the last bit of the chat, and we'll find somebody to raid. Yeah. So where were we? Okay, so Shogun says, you circumcised the tip. Yeah, I did. Gave him the snip. Oh, Cushy Kitten, thank you for the redeem posture check. Oh, now I'll just remind myself to do a hydrate as well. Sure. Oh, nice. Okay, then Jonga says the music level is perfect. Okay, cool, awesome. Loudlands, yo, still here. Snip, snip goes the tip. Okay, yeah, thank you guys for joining my, what do you call this, like a TED talk or whatever, a crash course to basics sanding and modification course. Let's find somebody to raid. So let me just get my Twitch up and we'll share screen, and let's find somebody together. Somebody that's also doing Gunpla hopefully, or doing something creative. You know, whether it's like another model kits or something like that. So I go to, where's the makers? Yeah, there you go, makers and crafting. Okay. Let me stream my screen. Okay, let's find somebody and share the love with him. Oh, quite a lot of talking. Okay, so I see we've got Gundam's Fan 7. We've raided him a few times. Nice oak. Nice bloke. I think he's based in the UK, yeah? Yeah. So what is he building? Perfect grade, okay. Perfect grade Strike Rouge. Okay, cool, cool. Let's see what other options we have here. Mecha May. Don't know what he's doing. He says giveaway, so maybe he's just talking and not doing a build. We've got Gundam Destiny build. Looks like a paint stream maybe. And also I want to raid somebody with like the lowest viewers, so we can give them, you know, support. So I see Gundam 7's got 4, and this Destiny's got 36. Gundam Fight Sticks, oh that's cool. Okay, I know Vortex has left, but I know he recently bought a what's it, fighting game stick controller, and he says, oh, you know, he wants to do a Gundam custom faceplate. So hey, Vortex, if you're watching this back, maybe you can, you know, I don't know, check out his Twitch channel. Hey, who's that guy? Gunpla SA, never heard of him. Pokemon Quick? Maybe, hey? Maybe. 5 viewers, so maybe we can show them some love. Looks like a owlet. I can see from the green and the orange feet colors. Let's just do some build. I don't know what they're building here. Yeah, don't know what that person's building. So it's either Gundam Fan 7, which we've, you know, raided a few times, or that's Gundam Destiny, or this Pokemon Violet. What do you guys think? Maybe you guys can type in the chat and see which one you guys would like. I'm just thinking Pokemon's only got 5 viewers, so maybe we choose that one. And besides, you know, our build is not a Gundam build, so maybe you can choose a non-Gundam streamer as well. Okay, there's no other builder streaming, I think. I'll give you guys a minute if you guys have a preference. Oh. Yeah, let's check what you guys are saying. Pokemon, okay, cool. Let's choose that. Let me just come back to my cam here. Okay, it's my face cam. But, okay, you're gonna see me just staring blankly into the into the screen. Okay, let me go into the chat. Grab the username. What's Stinky Dink? Okay, cool. Alright, so let me just do what's /raid and then drop the channel thing. Okay, before I hit enter, I'll probably just say sign off. Thank you guys for watching my stream of like spent a lot of time doing not much, I think. But yeah, it's always nice to be streaming, to be engaging with our build force on stream in the chat, and yeah, it's nice to show some, like, you know, I'd say maybe some advanced tips, advanced or basic tips, I don't know. Yeah, nice to be sharing them with you guys, because obviously our goal as Gunpla SA is to hopefully, you know, nurture new, not just new builders, but more new people getting into the painting side of things, customization side of things, to get into competitions, so that one day we can, you know, send or even be eligible, first be eligible for the whole GBWC, the Gunpla Builders World Cup, so we can send like our finalists from South Africa to compete in a global scale, you know. So yeah, that's our dream as Gunpla SA. Yeah, we're not just here trying to sell products, you know. Obviously selling is the products is nice, you know, it keeps the business afloat, but yeah, our mission, the heart of it is community, and our goal as a community is that we want to get South African builders go to international competition and bring home the trophy, you know, show Japan and show the rest of the world, you know, what South Africans are made of, out of. So yeah, proudly South African, you know. Yeah, thank you for the stream, and until next time, keep building and sanding, modification, modifying, joy, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Thank you, bye, boom. Okay, now I'm gonna go raid. Yeah, thank you, Enrico. You said thank you for the stream. We'll see you on the Discord. Yeah, you better post some stuff. Post some stuff that you've been working on. We want to see. Cool. Alright, so one raid now. Bye. And